Hey, what's going on, y'all? Steve Peterson of Infinity Investments coming at you from the home office today on a different kind of a video. Not going to be talking about real estate so much today. Today's video is more for the entrepreneurs out there, the real estate agents and brokers, and just people who are looking to solve problems. Okay, so we're going to talk about positive problem solving. I think that's going to be a huge part of our recovery coming out of this pandemic. Now, look, interestingly enough, in the real estate market, there's different sectors of the real estate market. I'm in Oakland, California. Single family homes are selling like hotcakes still. However, I do mostly commercial investment property. Not necessarily the case, all right? The pandemic hits different in that market. So you really have to understand which market you're in. And even single family homes, at some point, I don't think it's going to continue selling like hotcakes forever. So we've got to be prepared to learn how be aware of how to solve problems. And I think as entrepreneurs, investors, good market, bad market, sideways market, don't really matter. I think your problem solving skills, if you're a leader of any kind, a coach, an executive, a mom, a dad, you're going to have some problems. And your ability to deal with those problems, I think, are going to what lead you through the difficult times over the rough side of the mountain into success. All right. So number one thing I want to talk about in solving problems is keep a cool head. All right. Keep a cool, level head. And one of the things we got to do is figure out how to neutralize emotions, because especially in real estate, man, you're working on a deal, say it's $1 million, looking at getting a fat commission. Everything's going well. Then maybe you do inspections and you hit a snag, or maybe the financing comes back with something bogus. And now you are stuck in a situation where you was about to make 20, 30,000. And now all of a sudden, or maybe 40, 50,000. Now all of a sudden, you might be losing a deal. So what do? Number one thing that happens at that point is emotions start running high. So you've got to figure out a way to neutralize your emotions. Okay. One thing that I do, and a technique that I learned in sports, it translates over to business, is that when you are in the fire, when you got some pressure cooking, just breathe, okay? Breathing is something that we do, automatically, but when we get under pressure, our body stops that automatic breathing. And so what happens is we don't get that much oxygen into our head. So when you're in a pressure situation, all I like to do is just take 5 deep breaths in and out. You do that 5 times in a row, you got more oxygen in your head. Now you just, you take your state to a more calm place. Now you can think through what's in front of you. All right. So that's the biggest thing, because you try to attack a problem full of emotions, full of anger, full of frustration, full of animosity, or too much exuberance and excitement. You're not gonna be able to think as clear as you could if you were just dialed in, emotions neutralized, ready to solve the problem, ready to focus on the issue. So number one thing, keep a cool head. All right. Number two is you have to evaluate all the issues, challenges, and the desired results. So say you're working through a deal, something hits the fan. Now you got to take your breath, take a step back. All right. What's all the issues with the deal? Okay, everything. Just get it out, write it on a piece of paper. Sometimes writing versus typing, it just activates your creative mind. So I like to just write on paper sometimes versus typing. Write on a paper, it just does something for me in my mind. It helps me to think more creatively. So you write down, well, what's the issues? Okay, is it financing? Is it, people backing out? Is it the market? What are the issues? Okay. Is it a physical problem with the property or the business or whatever it is that you're dealing with? Write them down. Then think about, okay, well, what's the biggest problems here? What's the biggest challenge that we have to deal with? Write those down. And then look, okay, well, what are we doing this for? What is the desired result? And then you got to look at that and focus in on that, because that's what we're trying to get to. So let's figure out what are all the issues, what's the big challenges, and then just get them written out. Start with that, okay? That just in and of itself might be eye-opening, because a lot of times when we're in something, we're in a problem or challenge, we're thinking the biggest problem is X, but really it might be Y. It might be another thing that we didn't really even think about. unless we took the time to sit down and go through it. And what I noticed, the biggest thing with me and my team, family, is a lot of times we're fighting the wrong battle. We're fighting against what we think is the biggest problem, and that's not even it. All right. So you got to know what's your biggest problem in order to solve it, right? And prioritize it. So number 2 is just evaluating all the issues, writing out the biggest challenges, and also identifying your desired results, keeping your eye on the prize. All right. Number 3 is we've got to identify the interests and intentions of all parties involved. So if we're involved in a real estate deal, there's going to be a buyer, there's a seller, there's a lender, there's a title company, there's insurance people, there's all these different parties, right? So you want to look at, okay, well, what are the interests and intentions of those that we're working with? Say you're dealing with a family situation, that's the same thing. What are my kids really going after right now? What are they trying to get accomplished right now? Okay, what am I trying to get accomplished? What are my interests? What are my intentions? Write them down. I know it sounds simple, but a lot of times we forget about the simple things. And a lot of times the answers are right in front of our face if we take the time and diligently go after that. Now, there's a great, I'm a CCIM, that stands for Certified Commercial Investment Member. That's a commercial real estate designation, but it is a institute that offers a lot of great education. And there's the CCIM negotiation class talks about the interest-based negotiating model, where you're basing your negotiation on the interest of the parties involved. Highly, if you're in real estate, particularly highly recommend you take that course, whether you're going after the designation or not, because it's an excellent model of how to really solve problems, not just negotiate. And so you got to identify what the interests and intentions are of all the parties involved and write it down. You know, don't just think about it, write it down. Again, I recommend physically writing it. It helps me out a lot. Just activates a different part of my mind. Now, that's critical on a couple different levels, because you think about, for instance, in a real estate deal, the seller, they want to sell the property, right? That's obviously what they want to do. Why do they want to sell the property? Have you asked that question? Have you figured that out? Okay, are they going into retirement? Are they looking to purchase a bigger property? Are they stressed out by this property? What is their real reason that they want to sell that property? Okay, that helps you to identify their intentions of what they're trying to do. Okay, then what are your intentions? You're trying to buy the property, but what are you really trying to do in buying that property? Is it to increase your cash flow? Is it to put your money in a good place that's going to grow over time? Is it because you're just trying to make a commission, or is there what is that? And then identify why is that. Okay, now that's a very important step. And you don't want to skip this step, because step number 4 is where we tie it all together, is where we brainstorm all the potential solutions, as the ones that make sense, the ones that don't make sense. Now, this is when you just got to let your brain roll and you bust down all the potential solutions to the challenge that you're dealing with, okay? There's no filter here. There's no wrong answer here. You got to get everything out. I'll let your brain roll for like 30 minutes after you've done all this, right? After you neutralize your emotions by keeping a level head. After you've, evaluated all the issues and major challenges and what your desired result is. After you've identified the interests and intentions of all parties involved. Now you let your brain just roll, pop, 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 on possible solutions. All right. Then take a break. You breathe, take a walk, whatever. After you got all the possible solutions wrote down, then you come back and evaluate. Okay, all right, well, this one's stupid. We're not going to do that. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, this one, I don't know. And you kind of put your top 3 solutions to the problem, the challenge that's in front of you. Now, when you got that together, that's a dialed in process of how to deal with something. Now, you go in there and present your solutions to whoever, whatever, whomever is it who you're working with on this, and you present in a creative, positive, and fearless, attitude, mannerism, and delivery. Okay, your delivery is very important. Whether you're because we're on virtual, whether you're on the phone, whether you're on Zoom, whatever. When you're bringing forth positive solutions, right? You want to do it in a way that exudes your confidence in these solutions, and that's with the positive, excited, mentality and attitude, and one in which where if the other side says no, you've put a couple different options on the table, and you're able to then maneuver around what they're coming at you with. Now look, you ain't gonna solve every single problem in the world. It don't work like that. But if we use a model of how to deal with this, you're gonna solve more of the problems. You're gonna achieve or handle more of the challenges that are in front of you than before. And that's gonna be critically important in the economy that we are in now in August 2020, and that we're coming into the future. All right, it's not about the prices of real estate or the price of stocks or the price of eggs at the grocery store. It's about positively handling the problems and challenges that are in front of you in a way that not only moves you forward, but sets forth the model of people that are maybe following you or people that will come behind you. Okay, blaze the trail, lead the field. Don't just be a follower. Peace out, y'all. I hope this was helpful. If it was, subscribe to this channel, hit a like, throw me a comment. Let's get this working, y'all. Lead the field.